Sangha, my obeisances to everyone, and to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayan Rupa Karama Yandarati Swaparamtikam. Jai, so just begging the blessings of their lordships here in Denver, Radha Govinda, and also in Jagannath Puri, Jagannath Baladev, Shrimati Subhadra Devi. We're speaking on the Rathayatra festival. It's a festival of the heart. So begging for the blessings of all the deities, all the Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, and all of you, all the devotees. So soon we have so many Rathayatras going on around the world, and New York Rathayatra, I was just recalling hearing a lecture address that Prabhupada gave to the people in New York on July 18th, 1976. And he began the address by talking about the holy place, Kurukshetra, that we've all heard about, and how 5,000 years ago there was a solar eclipse there. And Prabhupada was saying how all religious people would go to Kurukshetra, especially when there was a solar eclipse. And so 5,000 years ago, there was one ceremony there, and Balaram, Krishna, and his sister Subhadra, they came on chariots to visit. Prabhupada called it a grand visit. It commemorated this Rathayatra, commemorated a grand visit of Balaram, Krishna, and Subhadra coming on chariots, visiting the holy place of Kurukshetra to also meet with the residents of Vrindavan, because everyone was going there for, especially to be with Krishna, on the plea of going for holy bath and sacrifice during the eclipse time. So then in this address at the Rathayatra in New York, Prabhupada was telling briefly the story of King Indrajumna, who started a temple in Puri, and he had a sculptor who was sculpting deities out of these big logs, wood, behind closed doors. And he was not, the king, supposed to open the doors until the carving was completed, but the king decided to see what was going on when he didn't hear any chipping away of the sculptor, and he was concerned, what's going on in there? And the queen, Gundicha, she was wondering, what's happening in there? What, is he there? Is he okay? So they opened the door, and then the sculptor disappeared, and the deities were in this unfinished form, as we know the form of Jagannath today. So then King Indrajumna was very upset at first, but then he thought, oh, right, let me worship the Lord in this way. He must want me to worship him in this way, even though he's unfinished. So that's one pastime that indicates why we're worshiping Jagannath in this form that he is as he goes on the Rathayatra festival. So in this address to the people at the New York festival, Krishna, he explains how Krishna will accept our services. This is the benefit of these festivals. We are given the opportunity to serve the Lord just by attending the festival, pulling the cart, offering flowers, decorating the cart, or whatever it is we might be doing, or just appreciating the festival, chanting as the festival's being conducted. So Prabhupada was saying that Krishna will accept our service and love, you know, the affection, the love. This is what he wants. And he quoted from Bhagavad Gita that just offer me a little fruit, a little flower, a little water, and just offer it with love and affection. And I will accept this. So he's telling everyone at this festival basically how you worship the Lord. Here we are with Jagannath Baladev and Subhadra Devi, and Prabhupada's giving the summarization of all the benefits you're going to get from worshiping the Lord. And this festival is one way to do it, one way to serve. And Prabhupada talked about the universality of the festival. Of course, we know Jagannath means Lord of the universe. So he was talking about how even the poorest can worship with just little fruit, little flower, little water. Anybody. He said there's no material condition that can check the devotional service. There's no hindrance in the worship. Nothing can check it. There's no restrictions for the worship, like caste, creed. Nothing can get in the way. In other words, this is a universal, beneficial festival for anyone who can attend and try to get some understanding. So Prabhupada was trying to give an understanding of what is this movement. And he said, this is all we want you to do. Just try to understand what's going on, and you'll be happy. He said, that's our only request. And then he started talking about in life, we can understand that there's father, mother, and children. So similarly, he talked about how Jagannath is like the Supreme Father, and Mother Earth is like the Supreme Mother. And then there's always the children, the living entities. And so he said it's our duty to serve the Father, duty to serve Jagannath. So he's giving everyone like a little capsule of how to engage in devotional service at this festival and for the rest of your life and eternally. He's giving the whole capsulation in this address. And he said, just make some offering, give some love and affection. And he said, this will make your whole life successful. And if you don't understand the purpose of human life, then you'll spoil it. So Prabhupada, is compassionately presenting this festival to the people. He was presenting like this all over the world, so many Rathayatra festivals. And he's telling the people how you can prevent spoiling your life, how you can make your life successful. And he's telling that our movement, Krishna consciousness movement, we're trying to teach the people this worship and this service, this devotional service. And he's explaining that without this, you can't be happy. You have to take up your duty to serve. And otherwise, everyone's struggling for happiness, he was explaining. And so he said that Jagannath, Krishna taught 5,000 years ago this science. It's a science, a spiritual science. And then he quoted from Bhagavad Gita how, he's the Lord of all the living entities, the Father, he's the Mother, like that, of all the species of life, and the Father is maintaining everyone, the Mother Earth, she's supplying the food for everyone, the elephants in Africa, the ants in your room. So Prabhupada's giving like the boons, the benedictions that come, the benefit that comes from engaging in devotional service. And the wonderful thing is he's explaining how you can benefit from this festival today, he says, and then also for eternity, how you can benefit. And so he's explaining that everything's supplied by the mercy of the Lord. And we don't have to be disturbed by so many things like overpopulation. He says, anyway, we don't accept that theory. He says, because God can feed all, it's only we mismanage things. And so he's saying that, so what we propose is that everyone become God conscious, right? And if you remain like cats and dogs and animals, he said, then you won't be able to understand. So he explains that human consciousness, that human intelligence, it's advanced. And you can, with this intelligence, understand your relationship with God and your duty in relationship with God. So don't spoil your life. We've had millions and millions of lives, he said. And then he explained again how this is not sectarian. Jagannath means Lord of the universe. It's not a sectarian movement. So Prabhupada's showing us the benefits of this universal festival, the universal Lord, and this universal understanding of Krishna consciousness, devotional service. And he said, you can understand this through our books, through the philosophy, through the science. And then he said, if you're not inclined that way, then of course we're chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Just by chanting this mantra, you can learn to understand what this is all about, and your whole life will be benefited. And so he says, try to be impartial, don't be like prejudiced or partial, and to try to have an open heart, right? Open your heart so that you can understand this movement and become happy. And so one way that Prabhupada would begin his festival with the verse, Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathagami Bhava Tume, please be visible to me, Lord Jagannath. And he would always thank the people for attending. He would say how he's so much thankful to them, for whatever support they give. And he was thankful to the boys and the girls for helping him. So we know that if you've observed the festival calendar for the Rathayatra, the day before the Rathayatra is called the Gundicha Marjana, the cleansing of the Gundicha temple. So in many temples, there is cleansing of the temple before Lord Jagannath has his festival of Rathayatra. And this commemorates the cleansing of the Gundicha temple, because in Puri, the festival, the parade goes from temple in Puri to the Gundicha temple, some short miles away, not far down the Grand Road. And so Puri, in this festival of Rathayatra, it is representing Dwarka or Kurukshetra, some kind of, opulent mood where Lord Jagannath has his pastimes with the goddess of fortune. And we know that before the Rathayatra festival, Lord Jagannath has his bathing ceremony and he gets a transcendental fever and he is in seclusion for some 2 weeks with the goddess of fortune to please her. And then he says, oh, I would like to go out and have a little stroll when he's so-called feeling recuperated from his transcendental fever. And he goes out to have his stroll, his Rathayatra festival, which goes from Puri Temple to Gundicha, representing Krishna traveling from Dwarka to go to Vrindavan, represented by Gundicha Temple. So this is a whole wonderful pastime of, as we've heard in the Krishna book, it's an emotional process of taking Krishna back to Vrindavan. Radharani and the gopis. Radharani and the gopis, Vrindavan Vasis, they came to Kurukshetra for this solar eclipse that Prabhupada was talking about. And they came to meet with Krishna. But Krishna was in his royal mood, and it was not the mood of Vrindavan. So Radharani, she's asking Krishna, Krishna, you're not like you are as Gopal in Vrindavan, and so we can't really relate to this opulent mood. We want you to come back to Vrindavan. So Prabhupada says in Krishna book that this transcendental emotional existence of the gopis is the basic principle of Lord Chaitanya's teaching. The Rathayatra festival observed by Lord Chaitanya is the emotional process of taking Krishna back to Vrindavan. Srimati Radharani refused to go with Krishna to Dwarka to enjoy his company in the atmosphere of royal opulence. For Lord Krishna, being profoundly attached to the gopis, never goes away from Vrindavan, and the gopis and other residents of Vrindavan remain fully satisfied in Krishna consciousness. So this is the mood of Lord Chaitanya in this festival. 500 years plus ago, Lord Chaitanya was enacting this festival in the mood of Srimati Radharani, leading Krishna back to Vrindavan. So one thing is, sometimes it's said that the Rathayatra is Radha's bhav, or her mood. Radha and the gopis pulling Jagannath back to Vrindavan. And so in Kurukshetra, we see there's this like an explosion of prema in their hearts, the gopis and Radharani. They really want to meet with Krishna in the way that they know him. And so this prema that they're feeling, it's their love and separation from Krishna and Vrindavan. And so they're saying, well, now, you're Jagannath, you're the Lord of the universe, but we know you as Gopinath. So how are we supposed to understand this? So practically speaking, you can see that Radharani, or Lord Chaitanya in the mood of Radha, is taking Lord Jagannath into her heart. And with the ropes of her love and affection, pulling Krishna back to Vrindavan. And so Prabhupada, at one of the Rathayatras, he said that the Lord is in everyone's heart. And our bodies are like rathas or carts. And this Rathayatra is taking the Lord into your heart and pulling him back to Vrindavan, where everyone, all the devotees, Radharani, everyone, the Vrajvasis, they're all satisfied when Krishna is in Vrindavan. So the heart is this festival. The heart is the core of it all, this emotional mood of bringing the Lord back. And therefore, the heart needs to be a suitable sitting place or cart for the Lord. And so Prabhupada explained this in one purport in Chaitanya Charitamrita in the Madhya Lila. He in Madhya 12, there's the cleansing of the Gundicha temple chapter. And so how do we prepare for this Rathayatra festival? How do we prepare for the Lord to be in the heart? How do we prepare for the benefits of this loving exchange with the Lord? How can the heart be ready for this? How can we benefit from it? And so this cleansing of the Gundicha temple pastime tells us how we actually can do that, how we prepare for the festival of relating to the Lord and serving the Lord, and specifically for this Rathayatra festival. So in the purport, Prabhupada's referring to commentary of his spiritual master on this pastime, saying that Lord Chaitanya is actually a world leader who's giving instructions on how to receive Krishna within one's cleansed and pacified heart. So this is one of the benefits, big benefits of this festival. We know that to properly enter into the festival mood, we have to cleanse the heart, make it clean and pacified for the Lord, to be happily sitting there, to be on his cart. And he says that if you want to see Krishna seated in the heart, we have to cleanse the heart first. So we know from Lord Chaitanya's prayers, Shikshastika prayers, Chaito Darpana Marjanam, that the heart needs to be cleaned. There's a lot of dust accumulated in the heart. And Prabhupada talks about this in his Rathayatra addresses. He says, there's this contamination that comes by, living in this world and engaging in material activities with material consciousness. We're in this world and the dirty things are accumulating in the heart. And so he says, by this chanting, this is how we're going to cleanse the heart. So basically he's telling everyone, join in this festival, join in the Rathayatra, and then you can prepare yourself to become liberated. Prabhupada said, just by seeing Jagannath on the cart, one's way for liberation is open. He said, but you have to keep that heart clean. He said, if you go and you perform sinful activities again, then you're checking your way for liberation. But keep the way open by this instruction of the Gundicha cleansing, the Gundicha temple cleansing, of taking out all the dust, grains of sand and straw that are in the temple, and take them out. So Lord Chaitanya and all his devotees, before the Rathayatra festival, they would enact this pastime of cleaning the temple, getting buckets of water and brooms, and always chanting Krishna, 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 and cleansing. Even the Lord cleansed with his own cloth and his own hands. And so if we want to be like this, to engage in preparing ourselves to get the benefits of the association of the Lord in our heart, in this festival of Rathayatra, then we must chant and hear the glories of Sri Krishna. And we know there's a beautiful verse in the Bhagavatam that talks about that in the first canto. Shrinvata swakata Krishna, punya sharavana kirtana, hridyantasto hi bhadrani, vijnoti suritsatam. So that is that Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who's the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who relishes his messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanting. So this is the process, right, of cleansing the heart. And because Krishna is in the heart as super soul, he will help the devotee who wants to do this, wants to engage in service. And so Krishna will help him in the cleansing and will continue to live in the devotee's heart and give directions how to keep a cleansed heart so that we can be on our way to the supreme liberation of just always serving with love, no other desire, just wanting to serve purely. So this is how the Lord cleansed the temple of Gundicha, and this is the example we're giving. And in the purport here in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada writes, if the heart is filled with straw, grains of sand, weeds, or dust, one cannot enthrone the Supreme Personality of Godhead there. The heart must be cleansed of all material motives brought about through fruitive work, speculative knowledge, the mystic yoga system, and so many forms of so-called meditation. So he says that we can't perceive the Lord's presence in our heart unless our hearts are cleansed. And so we have to get freed from material desires through the chanting of the holy names, and be freed from the contaminations of the material world. So the purport explains about the elephant bathing, that he bathes in the water, comes out and puts the dust on himself again. So in that way, he said, we don't want to be like an elephant bathing, to see Jagannath on the Rathayatra cart. He said, your way is for liberation is open. But then if you throw that dust of material contamination back on your life, then, you're again contaminated, and the way for liberation is delayed, right? There's some lack of cleanliness, and we cannot proceed properly. It will take longer. But when the heart is actually cleansed, one can clearly see the Lord sitting there, just like we're seeing the Lord sitting on the cart, the Rathayatra cart. We can see him sitting there without any disturbance. The Lord confirms that he sits in the heart of the pure devotee. Wow. So this is the benefit. You can attend the festival for your eternity, this Rathayatra festival, of always keeping the Lord there with us, always chanting the Lord's glories, always making sure that our heart is cleansed, so that we can receive the benefits of devotional service. So the Lord Chaitanya, he's showing by his own practical example. And this is the thing. So Prabhupada's telling everyone at these festivals practical ways to benefit in your life, practical ways to come and attend this Rathayatra festival and benefit from the festival. How? We'll join in, chant, and look at the face of the deities, try to pull the ropes, try to be in the mood of wanting to serve and wanting to have the Lord in our heart, in a cleansed heart. So there's two cleansings that the Lord and the devotees did of the Gundicha temple. And one is they got most of the, the dust and the grains of sand out, but then there was finer dust and finer grains. So similarly, in cleansing our heart, we take out the gross things, like sinful activities like meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling. And then we take out, for the second cleansing, so to speak, the more subtle things. And Prabhupada's talking about getting rid of, things like desire for material gain, for high position, for popularity, for any kind of, duplicitous kind of desires, and get rid of these more subtle contaminations. So the second cleansing of the temple represents all of this, getting rid of more subtle things that get in the heart. This is like what we call the anarta nivritti stage, getting rid of the anartas, so that the Lord can personally be with us in the heart. So thus, this is the end of the purport. The cleansing of the Gundicha temple was conducted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to let us know how the heart should be cleansed and soothed to receive Lord Shri Krishna and enable him to sit within the heart without disturbance. So especially for devotees, when we know of this pastime before the actual Rathayatra festival begins, we can meditate on this cleansing pastime and, fixing ourselves in the proper mood, getting ourselves in the mood of a cleansed and pacified heart, so that when we participate in the festival, that Lord Jagannath is pleased to be present in the heart of the devotee. So this is the mood of Srimati Radharani, and they're pulling Lord Jagannath to Vrindavan, and Radharani's heart is considered Vrindavan, right? So we can look at Kurukshetra as kind of like Dwarka, or Puri is kind of like Kurukshetra, Dwarka, the opulent place, the opulent mood. So, and Rathayatra, the cart, we put Jagannath on the cart of our hearts and take him to Gundicha, which is Vrindavan. So Kurukshetra is like this place of explosion of prema, right? Where Radha and Krishna, they're meeting, and they're having this explosion of prema and emotion in their hearts, but there's still this like separation because it's not the same mood. So that's why they're thinking, we really, really want you, Krishna, to be with us in Vrindavan. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a wonderful chapter, the Lord's dancing at Rathayatra, Madhulila, chapter 13. So during the festival, so remember now that Lord Chaitanya, he's in the mood of Radharani, and he's before Lord Jagannath, who's Krishna, and he's performing a dance. He's bringing, in the mood of Radha, Krishna back to Vrindavan in this mood of ecstatic love. So we have the benefit of this festival to open up our hearts to more of this love, this ecstasy. Prabhupada said that in this festival and in the chanting of Hare Krishna, the ecstatic feelings can be ignited. So he was encouraging everyone be part of this festival. And so then the Lord is dancing before the cart, and then he begins to sing a song. Actually, this is Swarab Damodar. He begins to sing, and he's singing a song in the mood of Radha to enliven Lord Chaitanya. And this song is, now I have gained the Lord of my life, in the absence of whom I was being burned by Cupid and was withering away. So when Radharani sees Krishna at Kurukshetra, when they come for this solar eclipse ceremony, she's thinking, oh, the Lord of my life, finally he's returned, although he's in the wrong mood. He's in the opulent mood. So Prabhupada, in the purport here, he says this is the song of Radharani in meeting with Krishna at Kurukshetra. So Prabhupada's telling us that this whole Rathayatra festival is commemorating this meeting, this mood in Kurukshetra, and the mood of Radha bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan. So during the solar eclipse, they've met, right? And so this song, it's a song of separation from Krishna. So when they were meeting, Radharani and Krishna at Kurukshetra, she remembers her intimate association in Vrindavan. And so she's thinking, oh, now I've gained the Lord of my life. I was, in absence, and Cupid was, throwing arrows at my heart, and I was withering away, and now I can get my life back again. So Lord Chaitanya heard this, while they're, before the Lord Jagannath in the festival, and he's becoming so ecstatic in his dancing. And sometimes the car would stop, and Jagannath would look at Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya would look at Jagannath. So it was like when the Lord would look at Jagannath, it was like Radharani exchanging glances with Krishna, And when the cart would stop, sometimes Lord Chaitanya would fall behind in the festival parade. And so Lord Jagannath would wait for Srimati Radharani, Lord Chaitanya, right, to come. And when Jagannath would see Lord Chaitanya coming before him, then he would move the cart would keep moving. And so in this way, it was a whole Sankirtan procession. And it kind of like in the mood of the Rasa Leela, where you have all these different Sankirtan parties surrounding the carts, surrounding Jagannath's cart, and all the different singers and dancers. And Lord Chaitanya, in the mood of Radha, he would appear in every single Sankirtan group, and everyone thought, oh, we're so fortunate, the Lord has appeared in our group. And so in that way, the Lord was dramatically enacting before Jagannath this song that was sung by Swarup Damodar. And sometimes he would fall back in the procession while he's enacting with his hands and arms this beautiful song of how Radharani is regaining her life in association with Krishna. So there was this kind of competition between Lord Chaitanya and Lord Jagannath to see who would lead, But Lord Chaitanya, in the mood of Radha, was so strong that he was like leading Jagannath. Jagannath wouldn't move the cart until he would see Lord Chaitanya. And so there's this competition going back and forth. And it's reminiscent of the mood of the gopis wanting Krishna to come back to Vrindavan. So when Krishna went to Kurukshetra, he was there in his pastimes, in the mood of the Dwarka opulent mood, right? And so he meets the inhabitants, and he's Lord Chaitanya is assuming the part of Srimati Radharani, and Lord Jagannath is Krishna. So when we're at the Rathayatra festival, we can remember this beautiful mood of Radha's bhav, how she's pulling her heart, her love, her prema is pulling the cart, pulling Jagannath back to Vrindavan, and or Gundicha, right? The Gundicha temple. So Sri Kshetra, Prabhupada says in the purport, Jagannath Puri was taken as the kingdom of Dwarka, the place where Krishna enjoys supreme opulence. But he was being led by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Vrindavan, the simple village where all the inhabitants are filled with ecstatic love for Krishna. So this is why Prabhupada would say this is a very feeling festival for the Vaishnavas. That's how he would describe it. He, at one address, Rathayatra address, said, this is a very feeling festival. So we see why the mood of Srimati Radharani and Krishna. So Sri Kshetra is a place of Aishvarya Leela, just as Vrindavan is a place of Madhurya Leela. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, following at the rear of the Rath cart, indicated that Lord Jagannath, Krishna, was forgetting the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Although Krishna neglected the inhabitants of Vrindavan, he could not forget them. Thus, in his opulent Rathayatra, he was returning to Vrindavan. In the role of Srimati Radharani, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was examining whether the Lord still remembered the inhabitants of Vrindavan. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell behind the Rath car, Jagannath Dev, Krishna himself, understood the mind of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, Jagannath sometimes fell behind the dancing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to indicate to Srimati Radharani that he had not forgotten. Thus, Lord Jagannath would stop the forward march of the Rath and wait in a standstill. In this way, Lord Jagannath agreed that without the ecstasy of Srimati Radharani, he could not feel satisfied. While Jagannath was waiting, Gaurasundar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his ecstasy of Srimati Radharani, immediately came forward to Krishna. At such times, Lord Jagannath would proceed ahead very slowly. These competitive exchanges were all part of the love affair between Krishna and Srimati Radharani. In that competition between Lord Chaitanya's ecstasy for Jagannath and Jagannath's ecstasy for Srimati Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or Srimati Radharani's mood, emerged successful. So you know what happens in many of the festivals, at least ones I've experienced, all of a sudden the cart doesn't move. Like maybe there's a wire in the way or a tree in the way, and the cart has to stop. And the first Rathayatra in San Francisco, when Shyamasundar was driving the flatbed truck with the deities up this hill, the truck stopped. Something happened with the engine, and they were so fearful. Oh no, what's going to happen? It just stopped, and seemed to be rolling back. And anyway, so finally they got the engine going. And so they told Prabhupada about this incident, and Prabhupada said, oh, this is very good, because this is what we've just described here, that there's this competition between Radha and Jagannath, and Radha wins because the cart stops. Where's Radha? And he's waiting. Oh, okay. Then she comes forward. All right, then Jagannath moves. So there's this pastime that happens. In fact, I heard that in previous Rathayatras in Puri, one time, maybe it was Balram's cart, or one of the carts got entangled in all these wires, and they couldn't really finish the Rathayatra parade until the next day, when they got the cart out of all the entanglement of the wires. So these pastimes, they take place when we're doing the Rathayatra. We can remember this mood, how Lord Chaitanya, how Radharani is bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan. And in fact, we know that when the Rathayatra cart stopped in front of the home of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when Bhaktisiddhanta was just a baby, some said it stayed there for days, whatever it was, but just in front of the house. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's mother brought the baby Bimal Prasad in front of Jagannath, and Jagannath's garland fell on the baby Bimal Prasad, who was, of course, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he found out about this, he knew, oh, this is the ray of Vishnu. This is the person I've been praying for, that the Lord Chaitanya give me some help in spreading this mission. So when we're engaged in a Rathayatra festival, there's so many layers to it, so many benefits, just by being there, chanting with the devotees, seeing the Lord on the cart, and then also benefiting from remembering the pastimes of the Lord, and remembering what Radharani's going through and bringing Jagannath or Krishna back to Vrindavan. So by this hearing and chanting and remembering, Prabhupada said if you engage like this, then your life will become successful. So Rathayatra is a commemorated festival for the meeting of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra Devi with the residents of Vrindavan, and specifically Krishna with Radha and the gopis, and the ecstatic mood of Radharani with her love and affection, pulling her heart of love, pulling Krishna back to Vrindavan. And for us, Prabhupada said, cleansing our heart, getting the heart ready for Krishna to sit in the heart, to accept our service and ourselves, you know, the body like a Rath or a cart, carrying the Lord through our services, and being able to have the holy names in our service, uplifting us and helping us to feel the ecstasy, like Prabhupada said, a feeling festival for the Vaishnavas. And when we actually feel the ecstasies of the heart and the soul, then we will never want to ever do anything else in existence. We will have that taste. It will give us the higher taste. It will give us the benefit of never wanting to leave this process of cleansing the heart and making it a suitable place for such a festival. And Prabhupada said, every day is a festival. Every day. So every day is like a Rathayatra festival for the devotee, the Lord in the heart, the Lord with us in the holy names. And in this way, we become fully engaged and happy. Prabhupada was telling the people, this is all we want. We just want you to understand that we're presenting this wonderful process, this chanting, this unburdening of the contaminated heart, and helping us to become happy and giving that loving, happy, joyful service as an offering to the Lord and to all of humanity. So thank you so much. Maybe there's some questions or comments or anything at this time. If not, then I can just go on a little bit. Not sure if Radha Govinda Dasi is still connected with us in Puri. Oh, there she is. Haribol. Yeah, you're the one to really say something because you're right in the midst of it all. There'll be the Snaniyatra and the Rathayatra upcoming. Gundicha Marjana.
I just want to say thank you so much, Nidra Prabhu. And I'm just so grateful. And yes, sitting in Jagannath Puri Dham and listening to this is very comforting for the soul. Maybe devotees have any comments or questions?
Mataji, beautiful, beautiful lecture.
Hare Krishna. Is that Kamala?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Thanks
Hare
for
Krishna.
being here, Kamala. And
Thank you so much.
yeah,
Mataji.
we have our Rathayatra in Denver the last Sunday in July. So we can meditate on this for some weeks, and everyone in Puri, they're going to be meditating on this and having the festivals. So just preparing the way.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Blessings.
Thank you.
From
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Kulavati is just getting ready to come to Jagannath Puri. Tomorrow is it? Train is tomorrow. And Ashka also. Ashka and Kulavati have booked to leave to Jagannath Puri soon.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Very nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Prabhu. You prepared our consciousness before we going there, because whenever we go to the dham, we always have darshan through the years. We should always have that. So it's Krishna's arrangement that we are going, and you have prepared our consciousness. We'll be remembering these pastimes, and we'll be remembering these beautiful points that you shared in the class. So I feel very fortunate to be present in the class today and hear nectar from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel very fortunate to be with all of you and remembering this. I just wanted to say one thing about what Lord Chaitanya spoke in the mood of Srimati Radharani at the festival. He said, for most people, the mind and heart are one. But because my mind is never separated from Vrindavan, I consider my mind and Vrindavan to be one. My mind is already Vrindavan, and since you like Vrindavan, will you please place your lotus feet there? I would deem that your full mercy. So Srimati Radharani showing us, make your heart like Vrindavan, and the Lord will be pleased to bestow his mercy.
I also just wanted to add that sometimes I'm on YouTube, I watch Denver ISKCON live, and I see Nidra in the temple there. And, I just want to say that your classes, I always admire that it's filled with practical experience. It's not like just theory. It's you live it by example, and the way you're dedicated, whether it's the snow, whether it's nobody's in the temple, whether the temple is fully crowded, you being there in front of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, you being there in front of Radha Govinda. I think that's what moves my heart so much. And just really want to thank you for that, being exemplary. And like Kulavati said, you made us see through the ears. And yeah, and then because you live it, you live that.
Well, thank you so much. That's so sweet. Actually, first deities in Colorado were Jagannath deities. So this is a special thing. You know, first deities in ISKCON, mainly Jagannath deities. So Prabhupada was blessing us. And so this festival, it was so important to Prabhupada when he was just about 5, right? He conducted Rathayatra. And then when Rathayatra was going down Fifth Avenue in New York in 1976, and Jayananda was conducting the festival, even though he had leukemia and was racked with cancer. Everyone was so enthusiastic to please Prabhupada and Jagannath because they knew that Prabhupada had come to New York and without really a place to stay in 65. And here in 76, Prabhupada's coming down Fifth Avenue with the carts and on Subhadra's cart, and how proud, spiritually proud Prabhupada was that this was happening. So this festival was so important to Srila Prabhupada for bringing Krishna consciousness to every town and village. He was just so enthusiastic about it. And so yeah, so we can appreciate that Prabhupada, he would give his gratitude. He said, I'm so much obliged to you boys and girls. He would just give his heartfelt gratitude. You know, what you've done and how you're serving Jagannath and how we're having these festivals. And you could just see that Prabhupada was so much wanting to share his ecstasy with the devotees and give appreciation to them, because they knew how important this festival was for Prabhupada and how important it would be for the world, you know, like cultural conquest, to have festivals with the Rathayatra festival to bring people in. So it's very, Prabhupada's just showering all the time. He's showering his gratitude on the devotees. He said that when he was physically present, but he's still doing it. He's still saying, I'm so grateful to you. I'm just giving you this, my heart. I'm so much giving my appreciation to you. And so how much enlivening that was and is for the devotees.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Any other comments for Nidra Prabhu? Rukmini Premataji or Ashka, you have any other comments?
Yeah, wonderful talk, Nidra Prabhu. Appreciate
Jai
so
Rukmini Priya.
look
Obeisances.
for
Thank you.
my obeisances. We're looking forward for your July talk. So
Yeah.
we'll send you a note. Maybe we switch the dates a little bit because I think it might be around July 4th.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
whatever
July
is
2nd.
good for you. Yeah, first
Yeah.
Tuesday is July 2nd, so it's whatever is good for all of you.
So maybe we switch it around the 9th because that's like a holiday week and towards like the July
Okay.
4th holiday. So maybe we switch it to the 9th.
Sure, that's fine. Mm-hmm.
And
Thank
then
you for that.
we can talk about a topic.
Right. Thank you very much. So looking forward to that, and may everybody have wonderful festivals and just really chant your hearts out. And yeah, thanks for association, and thanks Radha Govindadasi for bringing everybody together, and have a great Jagya in South India, and wonderful service in Puri and everybody else wherever you are. Yeah, thanks again, and until till July. My obeisances to everyone. Vanchakalpa Trubhischa, Kripa Sindhu Bhyavicha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.